Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Unstoppable podcast. I'm your host, Diana Chen, and I'm here today with our guest, Sameep Singhania. He is one of the founding members at the QuickSwap team, which is, for those of you who don't know, the biggest decentralized exchange on Polygon right now. And I'm super excited to speak with Sameep all about QuickSwap, what made him decide to create QuickSwap, and any plans for the future that they have. So welcome, Sameep. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks, Tyler, for the wonderful introduction about myself and QuickSwap. And I would really like to thank you and Unstoppable for hosting me here today. I'm really excited about this chat with you.
Of course, of course. So before we dive into QuickSwap, I'm curious to know about your background and how you personally got exposed to crypto in the first place. Like, what was it about crypto that initially caught your attention?
Yeah, of course. So, to give a personal introduction, I am an engineer by heart. I really love developing applications, writing smart contracts. I spend almost all of my time writing smart contracts and developing one or the other thing. Right? So I started my software development journey almost 10 years back, or it's almost a decade now. And I was earlier into core software development. Then in 2017, I decided to left my regular job and I wanted to do something new, right, in 2017. So I started figuring out what to do next. And then I stumbled upon blockchain. Right? So I was doing a freelancing initially. So I stumbled upon a blockchain project and I really liked it. I really liked the concept of blockchain. I really liked the concept of smart contracts. So since then it has been one hell of a ride. So I haven't turned back. I haven't doing anything else since then. Just smart contracts, just Ethereum and chains on top of Ethereum. So that's how my journey into blockchain started. So that one project which I got in 2017 brought me into blockchain.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. So I know with engineers especially, it's sort of easier for people with an engineering background to understand blockchain and crypto in general. But for you, when you first learn about blockchain and smart contracts and things like that, did that automatically make sense to you? Or were you skeptical at first? Did you have questions? And how did you, go about educating yourself more and wrapping your head around how all of this works?
Course. So I always wanted to try something new, and I was actually looking for something new, what new I can do. That's something I was trying to find out at that particular time. So when I stumbled upon blockchain, I thought, this is something new, and this is something which is going to strike upon, right? And even in the first project, I was I want to do this, and then I started researching on the internet, how I can learn more about blockchain, how I can learn more about smart contracts. And surprisingly, at that time, there were not many resources out there. Everything was so scattered at that time that it was very hard to start onto something new, especially in the blockchain space. And then I realized that, if I start onto blockchain right now, it's it's the very early stages of the blockchain. So I will be, starting on the blockchain in its very early stages. It's you are looking at a baby while it's growing. So when the baby is at his adolescence or adult ages, that particular baby in and out, right? So, and I had that feeling with the blockchain. So I realized that if I adopt it right now, after 10 years from now, I will have complete knowledge of the blockchain because I have seen it from the very beginning. 2017 was the very beginning, right? Of the Ethereum ecosystem, the applications were coming on at that particular time and all that stuff. So I was really excited to do this. And then I started finding out the resources, and there were not a lot of resources out there. So I did my own trial and errors. I did a lot of on my personal level, I did a lot of research. I read a lot of white papers and I wrote a lot of internal documentations of Solidity and stuff. And then I figured out how it all works. So all these challenges actually excited me more to join blockchain revolution because I realized this is the very beginning of this particular technology. And if it grows, then in next 10 years, I will be at the forefront of it because I'm joining this revolution at the very beginning of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's almost like working on the original version of the internet back in the 1990s, right? Super exciting stuff. You're doing something brand new. You're really helping to build the future of the web and the future of, this big thing that everybody's going to be using in the future. So it is super exciting. So you learn about blockchain, you're freelancing in blockchain, and then how did that turn into QuickSwap?
That's a nice question, right? So I started in 2017 and I did a lot of projects, not just one project, tons of projects I've done. Some of the big ones are OpenBazaar. So OpenBazaar was a decentralized marketplace. It was a wonderful, awesome project. The team was great. I worked with them as well. And then I worked on Paraswap. So like Paraswap was my entry into DeFi. So in 2019, I started working alongside Paraswap. So Paraswap basically is an aggregator, right? So when you go to a market, right, if you want to do a swap, you want to swap ETH to DAI, right? And if you go to Uniswap, you're just tapping the liquidity of Uniswap. But if you are using an aggregator like Paraswap, you tap into the liquidity of the entire ecosystem, right? So you will definitely get better rates, right, if you use aggregator. So right, so basically Paraswap introduced me to the world of DeFi, and it was in 2019. And in 2019, the DeFi was actually starting up. That was the time when Uniswap, like the Uniswap V1 came on board. Like other like protocols like Compound, they were still building it. Like people were still building it. The curve was being built. Like the balancer, not balancer. Like I think Bancor was already there. Like the Kyber was there. So it was the very like early, like the first year of DeFi, or like the very early stages of DeFi, right? And like, Paraswap introduced me to DeFi in the very beginning. So I was very fortunate, right? So I started in the blockchain. It was very early, and I got into DeFi when it was very early for the DeFi as well, right? So then I started working on all these applications, and like meanwhile I was getting a lot of projects as well. So then I was working on a couple of more projects, and then we realized in those projects, that we need a support for layer 2 solution as well. So then I started exploring Polygon, right? So I was started exploring Polygon as well when it was very early, right? When even the mainnet of Polygon was not out there. So like that's why like I consider myself very fortunate, because any technology which I get into, it's like very early stages of the technology. So I really loved the Polygon team. I really loved the Polygon ecosystem, and I really loved the idea, the vision behind the Polygon, like the product that they were developing. Like the vision was great. So like I realized that this particular team, this particular product is going to do great, right? But and like when I was working on Polygon, I like have a very good relation. I built a very good relationship with the Polygon team as well, with Sandeep, with JD, with Anurag, and all those people, right? Then in last year in March, suddenly the prices started going up, like of Ethereum, right? And like effectively, what happened that suddenly the overall usage of the ecosystem of the Ethereum platform, adoption of the Ethereum platform, it was like exponentially increasing. Right? So the Ethereum prices started going up, and the gas prices started going up as well. Like by gas price, I mean the transaction cost of Ethereum started going up. Right? So like what like a single transaction, a normal Uniswap transaction, which used to cost so like somewhere around like 10 or 15 cents in March, it was actually costing you somewhere around 50 or 60 US dollar by September or October 2020. That was the surge in the gas transaction fees and in the Ethereum gas prices, right? So in March, we realized that this has started going up. We were looking at the trend. That time, we were not thinking about QuickSwap or like layer 2, anything of that sort. Then in July or August, I'm not sure, but in July or August, the Ethereum prices were 400 US dollar. Suddenly, from 90 US dollar, we were sitting at 400 US dollar in just span of 3 or 4 months or 5 months. And the gas prices were somewhere around 100 KOE at that time, right? That was too high. So the transaction cost was already like 50 times what it was in March. And we realized that this trend will keep on increasing, right? So effectively, the transaction cost will become expensive because the gas price will keep on increasing and the Ethereum prices will go on increasing. And we have seen that in somewhere in February, the Ethereum prices, like February or March, the Ethereum prices were somewhere around 4,000 US dollars. And the gas price at that time was somewhere around 1,500 KOE. The overall transaction cost, like of doing a very simple normal transaction on Uniswap, was somewhere around 300 US dollars. So that's not viable. So that we realized in January or August, July or August, that that's this particular ecosystem, Ethereum ecosystem, it's great, but it's becoming an ecosystem of the rich. Right? If I as a small trader or if I as a small user of the blockchain, if I want to do a transaction on a blockchain, if it's going to cost me $10, $20 to do a transaction, I will not do it unless it's very necessary, it's very important, and like I have to do it. Right? I'm not going to do it, right? So we realized, if we want to bring next 1 million or 10 million users to the blockchain, then we have to scale this problem. We'll have to solve this problem. Like this is one of the biggest user experience problem where you have to pay a very, very high transaction cost, and you have to wait for at least 15 seconds if you have given up best prices. Otherwise, it can take hours for a transaction to get mined. Right? So we wanted to solve this particular user experience problem. Otherwise, there is no way you can get next 1 million users to the ecosystem, to the blockchain ecosystem. So we wanted to grow the Ethereum ecosystem. Right? So this was the biggest problem. Then we realized, that layer 2s are the solution to this. And at that particular time, we believed in Polygon itself, right? I personally never believed in like any other project. So I worked with a Loom as well. There was a layer 2 solution called Loom. but they didn't survive at all, right? So they were like the systems are down, right? So I really believed in the Polygon because of the ecosystem they had, because of the tools they had, because of the developer support they had, because of the team they had, right? So everything, like it was like a perfect situation for us, right? So now we wanted to build this particular layer 2 ecosystem, and then we realized to build any ecosystem, especially a blockchain ecosystem, you need a decentralized exchange. Like that's the first requirement. If any project or like any token comes up, the first need of that particular project is to list their tokens on an exchange where users can trade for their tokens. I should be able to purchase the project's token, and like somebody else should be able to sell it, right? The first and foremost requirement for any ecosystem, not just for the DeFi, but for like NFT ecosystems or the gaming ecosystem, like for every ecosystem, any particular ecosystem is a decentralized exchange. Like that is something which we realized early on. Right? So then we started like figuring out how can we build this particular DEX, right? And we all love Uniswap, right? I love Uniswap, like I love a Uniswap a lot, right? So we decided, Uniswap has a model. It has like these guys have built a superb application, and it's battle tested, right? Like everyone has tried it. Like it's the biggest decentralized exchange. A lot of users are already using it. Hackers have tried hacking it, but they are not successful doing it. So we like decided instead of reinventing the wheel, why not use Uniswap, right? Why not use like the work of the people, like the team behind the Uniswap, what they have done? Why not simply reuse it and build something on the layer 2 solutions, build something on Polygon, right? Why we should reinvent the wheel? Because we were not trying to reinvent how DEXs work at that time. We were trying to solve the user experience problem of high transaction cost and high transaction time. Right? That was the goal. And we thought we can achieve this by simply replicating what Uniswap is doing on Ethereum. We can simply replicate it if we are able to successfully replicate it on Polygon. Right? So then we started cloning out the Uniswap. Right? And we were successfully able to do that. Right? And another like very important point why we like cloned Uniswap was like we always wanted to solve the UX. That's true. Like even right now we are putting all our efforts towards solving user experience problems, right? But we also have to consider that we can't compromise on the security because this is a decentralized application, right? And if we compromise on security, we are actually compromising the actual user funds, right? So we never wanted to compromise on that. That's why we decided that we will not change even a single line of code in Uniswap's contract because we used Uniswap V2. Because those contracts were battle tested, like those were out for months. Those contracts were handling billions of US dollars, like millions of dollars of volume every day. So, like we were pretty confident that these contracts are highly secure, and we didn't want to touch it. So we never touched even a single line of code on the Uniswap contract. We simply deployed them as it is, right? So we can have the same security model, right? So that's how like QuickSwap like came into existence, and finally in October we deployed QuickSwap on Polygon, and we started our journey from there.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. What a story. Yeah, I totally hear you on, making DeFi accessible to the masses. That's something that I've said a lot on the podcast too. I think it's, the most compelling use case for me with DeFi is how it can help sort of level the playing field for all communities and all demographics. It's not to help rich people become richer, which is kind of what it seems like is happening in the ecosystem today. It's really to, help everybody have access to financial resources. And so I think it's really cool what you guys are doing. One thing that just came to mind as you were saying that, and this is something that I've seen discussed a lot on Twitter and mostly around actually when Sushi forked off Uni, but is this question about, when projects like, QuickSwap or SushiSwap like fork off other projects, is there a responsibility for these projects to sort of give back or credit in, some sort of way the original product or the original project that it was forked off of, either through like tokens or through contributions back upstream or something like this? And I'm not sure what, I don't think there's a right answer to this either way, but just curious to hear your perspective on it.
See, I totally agree with you, right? So if you are forking off some project, we are actually using like whatever efforts has been put up to build that particular project. So it's the like 100% responsibility of that particular community of the not only of the project but of entire community who's like using that particular like the forked project is to give back to the project or to the ecosystem, right? And like with that thought in mind, we launched the QuickSwap, right? So the purpose of launching QuickSwap was to give back to the Ethereum ecosystem, and like what we gave back was next thousand, like not just thousand, like hundreds of thousands of users into the blockchain community. Apart from that, like if you specifically ask me from the tokenomics perspective, we have specifically kept a 5% of the total supply of quick token, which will be given to the uni users, not just to the uni users, but to the uni token, I would say. So right now we are giving it in terms of liquidity mining. So if you go to the liquidity mining page of QuickSwap, you will always find a pair which is associated with uni token, and it's always rewarded. So either it's uni quick, sometimes it's uni USDC, sometimes it's uni ETH, sometimes it's like uni some other token. But since the inception, we have always rewarded the uni token holders, right? So if you are a uni token holder, you can come to QuickSwap, you can provide liquidity, and you can start earning rewards, right? And we are like trying to figure out other ways as well of doing that, right? So as I said, like it's our responsibility. We are doing this. Like the first way that we are doing this is basically bringing a lot of users, right? Because I think that's in itself a biggest giveaway as well. Like if you have like if the ecosystem is doing great, if you're bringing a lot of users and then are starting to learn more about the Ethereum ecosystem, more about the entire blockchain ecosystem, then that in itself is a good contribution, I would say. Like a QuickSwap community is doing great job over there. And apart from that, we are also giving like token incentives as well.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's really great that you guys are doing that. I want to break down some of the things that you were saying about QuickSwap as you were explaining, building the L2 on Polygon, things like that. For people who maybe aren't as familiar with the tech side of things, can you sort of just explain, like from the basics, like what an L2 is, what problem it solves, and then like what is the process like of building on an L2?
So like in very simple terms, I would like to explain it. Because like there are a lot of controversies which revolve around layer 2, and I don't want to get into any controversy right now. Right? So basically layer 2, like how I see it, is a scalability, it's a scalability solution for the blockchains. In case of Bitcoin, it's Lightning Network. In case of Ethereum, there can be different solutions. Like everyone has their own implementation. They either call it layer 2 and some people call it sidechains. There is a lot of controversy between like what's layer 2, what's sidechain. But for me, like, see, it's not about what's L2 or what's sidechain. For me, it's about like who is solving the actual problem, right? Like who's solving the current problems, like what users are liking, what they are using. If they are using, it's working for you. Doesn't matter if it's an L2 or it's a sidechain, right? The only thing that everyone should focus on is solving on the scalability issues which Ethereum has right now, right? So we should like try solving that. And like if you are doing that, you are doing an L2, right? So L2 solutions are basically, or layer 2 solutions are basically solving the scalability issues of the main blockchain or the parent chain, I would say. So in case of Polygon, Ethereum is the parent chain. And the current scalability issues of Ethereum is like high transaction cost and higher transaction times. And Polygon is just solving those issues. So like on Polygon, the transaction costs are almost negligible and the transaction times are like very, very less. So the block time on Polygon is 2 seconds. So any solution which is solving these problems, like in my opinion, is layer
2. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so another question, maybe, this is a dumb question, but coming from a non-technical person's perspective, like when you're building on an L2, are we going to face the same scalability problem that we faced on the layer 1, where like what if you build on L2 and then that gets over congested and gas fees there get too high? Is there going to be a layer 3 and then is it sort of just an endless cycle, or is like L2 the end of the scalability problem?
See, I think that's a good problem to have. So because right now the level of scalability that layer 2 solutions have, if we somehow choke those like solutions, that's a good problem to have. Like that means we have brought next 100 million users to the ecosystem. Like if we are like facing these problems right now. So see, we should look this from another point of view, right? So all these solutions are very new right now. Not just layer 2 solutions, even layer 1 solutions are very, very new. And they are like still very early stages. Like Ethereum is not even 10 years old now, right? Like it's somewhere around like 5 or 6 years. And like Polygon is just a year or a year and a half, 18 months or like 24 months old, like since they have launched their mainnet. So see, these problems will be there if suddenly next 100 million users decided to come onto the blockchain. Like I 100% agree with you that these problems will be there. But in my opinion, like from this point and until we will receive 100 million users, like it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. Right? So we will grow the ecosystem and simultaneously the technology will grow as well. Right? So the tech people are doing their task of scaling the technology so that we are able to handle 100 million users, right? So the first level of scalability solutions for the layer 2 solutions, right? And the second level of like scalability could be something else. So when we reach to 100 million users, I think will be ready by then to handle all those load. But right now, like I honestly do not have answer to this because everything is very new. In 6 months time, like from technical standpoint, everything changes, right? What was there in like 6 months back in Polygon, right now Polygon is like 100 times more mature what it was 6 months back. So when we started developing QuickSwap, there were very few tools available on Polygon, right? We had like it was like we had to develop everything on our own, right? There was no graph protocol. We wanted analytics. We had to deploy our own graph node, right? There was no DEX tools. There was no Gnosis safes, right? There was only one wallet, which was MetaMask. Right now, like Coinbase supports, Binance supports, right? Even I think Trust Wallet is going to come, Frontier is going to come. So in last 6 months, even Polygon has grown 100 times, right? So what it was able to handle 6 months ago, like I can confidently say right now, the Polygon can handle much more traffic than that, right? So this ecosystem is growing exponentially, right? So I think, right now I don't have any like perfect answer for you because this is a very early stages for all of us, but I'm 100% sure, like we will, whenever we'll reach a bottleneck, we'll have a solution for it.
Got it. Yeah, I totally realize I'm jumping the gun. We're like just starting to talk about L2s and I'm asking you about L3. So, yep, let's see let's see how it goes, and I'm sure by, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So another question I have is when you're building on the L2, whether it's Polygon or something else, are there any trade-offs that you have to have? So like, I guess for your case specifically, were there any features on Uniswap that you had to sacrifice essentially by building on the L2?
So when we started, there were a lot of trade-offs at that time because, as I said, at that time even the Polygon ecosystem was very new. Even the Polygon was not Polygon at the time; it was Matic at that time. Right? So it was very new. There were very less resources available over there, right? There was no toolings available. So when you want to develop a product, it's not just you deploy and you have an interface and you deploy the product, right? You need to have a supporting ecosystem around it. Like in case of Uniswap, you have Dune Analytics, right? You have CoinGecko supporting it. You have like DeFi Llama supporting it. Then you have like tons of tools, DEX tools supporting it. Now, there are tons of tools which supports Uniswap, and that makes Uniswap Uniswap. If those tools are not there, Uniswap wouldn't be like it is what it is right now, right? So when we started on Polygon, those tools were actually not there, and it was a big problem for us at that time because there was no way to show analytics, right? How do we show analytics? Right. There was no way for the users to have something like APY vision like they have right now. There was no Dune analytics at that time, right? So virtually there was nothing at that time. So at that time it was very hard to develop the entire ecosystem, but that was the idea of building QuickSwap. So when we built QuickSwap, when the project started coming on board, and when the QuickSwap started getting and the Polygon started getting more visibility into the ecosystem, all those tools automatically started coming on board. Now we have DEX tools, now we have Dune Analytics, now we have Binance, now we have Coinbase, now we have tons of wallets supporting it. So right now, if you want to develop something on layer 2 solution like Polygon, I think it's piece of cake. Right? You simply need to port your application or you develop your new application on Polygon, and you will already find everything which your application needs to support. And if there is something which your application needs and it's not there, I'm 100% sure it's going to come in next few months. So right now it's very easy.
Gotcha. That's great. Yeah, that's great to know. Another question I have is, so today we're recording this episode on August 4th, but today is the launch of EIP 1559. How does that change this, everything all the problems that we've had so far with gas fees being too high and the scalability problem and all of that?
So first of all, I don't think it's going to solve the problem entirely. Right? It's just a first step towards it. So EIP 1559 is not going to reduce gas prices or gas fees. It's just going to control the volatility of the gas prices. That's what EIP 1559 was all about. Setting a base price. The base price is decided by the network instead of your users or the miners sending the transaction and stuff. So it will basically control the volatility that we had for last 18 or 24 months in the Ethereum network, right? So what used to happen, right? Minutes ago it was 100 and minutes after it was 1400. This will not happen. But this doesn't mean that the gas prices won't fluctuate or the transaction cost won't fluctuate, the transaction cost won't be high. Right? It's not solving that problem. Right? First of all, to be very clear. So I still think that's a good move. That's a good move towards the scalability, towards solving the gas price problem. So it's a very good move, and like I really appreciate it. But this is not going to impact layer twos because layer twos are still needed. There are a lot of scalability issues which are still there. Right? So layer twos are here to stay. Like layer twos are not going anywhere. Like if somebody thinks that after EIP 1559 it's going to go away, even after ETH 2.0, I don't think layer twos will go away. Like in my opinion, layer twos will be a supporting chains for ETH 2.0 when it comes on board. Right? So EIP 1559 is a good move, and I think all the layer twos will like take this particular, like all the EVM based layer twos will take like EIP 1559 in terms.
Got it. Got it. That makes a lot of sense. So another component of QuickSwap that I wanted to ask you about is the Quick token. So can you tell people a little bit more about the Quick token, like what it is, how does it work, how can people get it, all the good stuff.
So Quick is like any other tokens, normal ERC20 token. The wonderful thing about Quick is in its token economics, right? So like for Quick, like I think it's the unique tokenomics. I haven't seen such, right? So in case of Quick, more than 96% of the token goes to the community, and the team just holds 3.25% of the total token supply. Like I think that's that. I mean, I haven't seen any other team like keeping that much amount of token, right? So everybody keeps more than 3.25, but we have just 3.25 with us, right? And we are like giving away everything else to the community. Or like 96+% goes to the community in form of liquidity mining or in different forms. Like whatever will happen, like what happens to 96 like +% of the token will be decided by the community, right? So governance based. It's a governance based. Now, how you can get these tokens? Okay, so recently we got listed on Binance as well, right? So Binance is the biggest platform right now. You can get Quick token. Apart from Binance, you can get either it on Uniswap, you can buy it on QuickSwap, right? You can buy it through Transact. Transact is a fiat on-ramp service, like they support Quick token as well. There are other centralized, like smaller centralized exchanges from where you can buy it, and like I'm hoping that in near future we'll have other bigger exchanges, other bigger payment processors that will start supporting Quick. Right? So like at all these places you can buy Quick token or like you can purchase Quick token.
Awesome. Super cool. So I want to talk about, what's new for QuickSwap in the future, any cool plans that you have. We had a couple of questions from Twitter. Big Soar from Twitter wanted to know, do you guys have any plans for a mobile app and any upgrade plans on the UI front?
So right now we do not have any plans for the mobile app, right? Because right now we are focusing more on solving like bigger UI UX problems that we have. So as I said, the inception of QuickSwap was based on solving user experience problems, right? And like we have demarcated these UX problems. The first one was solving the transaction cost, transaction time. We have already achieved it. The next set of problems is we want to like somehow redesign how people interact with the decentralized exchanges and the DeFi itself. And we are right now working on it, right? So our new design is almost ready. So we have divided this in like multiple stages. The first stage is to get the QuickSwap website ready. Which in itself looks very cool, right? It supports a lot of features and like a lot of stuff is happening right now. And I know like a lot of community members are waiting for this, and I'll personally leak some of the UI designs with you guys, like a sneak peek kind of stuff in next few days.
Gotcha. Super exciting. Another question we have from Twitter is, do you plan to stay on Uniswap V2 clone or develop any new features outside of that?
So we have developed a lot of stuff, right, apart from Uniswap V2. Right? So we have our staking programs, which Uniswap V2 doesn't have. They had for like first 60 days, but they don't have it now. We have a Dragon's Lair, which is not part of Uniswap. And I don't want to disclose this right now because our team is working hard on like doing a lot of stuff around it. But we have something really cool which we'll be launching maybe next week or next to next week. Right? So which is again not part of Uniswap V2, but like it's going to be a very, very cool product, I would say, which will come from the labs, QuickSwap labs. Right? So I wanted to disclose it, but my team is working really hard on this, and they said, no, you should do this right now. We'll do it like on a planned day. So, but it's coming very soon, right? And apart from that, we are working on like a lot of other stuff as well. Like I said, we are working to revamp the UI in stages. Like you should not expect to come everything out at once. You don't want to do that. You want to do this in stages. And apart from that, we have a long-term plans as well, where we are planning to develop a new version for the QuickSwap. But that's like not in the near future. In the near future, we will try to solve all the UX problems. We'll try to bring next 1 million users to the blockchain ecosystem. That's our goal.
Gotcha. Cool. And then one other question I think I already know. I feel like I probably know the answer to this after everything you've said already. But another question we got is do you have any plans to move to other chains in the future, or do you plan on staying on Polygon for the long haul? And then sort of a follow-up to that is, do you have any plans to move any part of QuickSwap to a different chain? For example, having an Ethereum based, like a layer 1 based treasury governance, but then a layer 2 based deployment system?
See, right now we want to focus on like one particular chain, because like our entire goal was to solve the user experience problem, and we haven't done that, right? So if we will launch on different chains, we will dilute all our resources, because right now we are focusing just on one single chain. And if we deploy on multiple chains, then we'll have to dilute our resources, dilute our rewards, dilute our attention, everything. And that is something which I think we are not yet ready to do. Right? Maybe in future, maybe in next 6 months or 7 months, we might do that, but not as of now. So there are a lot of like different chains who are contacting us to launch QuickSwap on these platforms. We can actually do that as well. It's not a big deal. But we don't simply want to launch it and then forget about it. No, we want to work on it as well, right? That's the goal. And I think right now we would like to focus all of our energy at one place, which is Polygon. And once we are satisfied, that we have we have achieved everything we wanted to, then we may change our focus, or we may, have other chains as well. But it's not going to happen in the near future.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And then I know you've spoken a lot about, focusing on UX and UI. Obviously, like one of the biggest problems with UX is what we've talked about with, gas fees being too high and not being accessible to the masses. What other aspects of UX and UI do you see as being like the biggest problems that you guys are trying to tackle right now?
Okay. So the other kind of biggest problem that I see in user experience is, right now, like in DeFi, people, I'm not sure how they perceive these exchanges as, but they don't perceive these exchanges as a real business, right? So it's an asset exchange platform where if you provide liquidity, you are actually earning a trade fee, right? They don't perceive it like that, right? Right now, DeFi is being perceived like some kind of an application where people come to trade, they see it from a different angle, right? And we want to change that particular angle, right? But this is the biggest UX problem I see in exchanges, right? When you go to Robinhood, right? Again, it's an asset exchange platform. It's nothing. It's an asset exchange platform. Their assets are stocks. In case of us, assets are crypto tokens. That's the only difference. So we wanted to have user experience which is quite similar to what Robinhood is doing. We're not going to copy Robinhood, but we wanted to have a good user experience which a user gets on Robinhood as well. So I think that's one of the biggest UX issues that we have right now. Other than that, there are very common UX issues which I think every layer 2 has, and Polygon has solved it to a level as well. Wallet supports, right? So when we started, there were very few wallets who were supporting Polygon. Right now there are a lot of wallets who support, but we are planning to add support to more wallets as well. So we got recently included in the Gnosis Safe app as well. If you go to Gnosis Safe right now, you will find in the default app you will find QuickSwap, right? So these are also UX issues in my personal opinion. Right now the mobile support is not that good, but it's becoming good because now Coinbase supports Polygon. A lot of different wallets are supporting. So these were the another biggest UX issues that we are focusing on right now. How to solve this, right? User shouldn't need MetaMask every time to interact with QuickSwap or any Polygon application, and that was happening for good amount of months, right? But it has changed now, right? So we have been working actively on this as well, right? Apart from that, there are we are also actively working with partners for the best bridging solutions, because right now all the assets lie on Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum is the parent chain, Polygon is a side chain or a layer 2 solution, whatever you want to call it, right? So all the main assets, they sit on Ethereum. You have to bridge it to Polygon, right? So right now we need to work a lot on bridging solutions as well. So the bridging solutions are easy to use. They are less expensive to use. And we are working with a lot of partners, to grow that particular ecosystem as well, right? So there are quite a few things which we are either we are directly working on or we are working through partners. But our approach is to let different projects or different partners come on board and solve these problems, because The entire goal of QuickSwap was to solve the UX issues and to provide a platform on top of which others can develop. Right? So we don't try to do everything by ourselves. Right? A lot of people expect us to do everything, but that's not what we are going to do because we want everyone to grow simultaneously. So we expect and we encourage other projects that you come to us, you build something on top of us. So yeah, so that's how we are trying to solve a lot of UX issues.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It sounds like overall it's really just making the onboarding process as easy for people as possible, especially people who aren't yet in crypto, don't even have a MetaMask, don't understand how any of that works. There's so many barriers to do the simplest DeFi transaction. There's so many steps that you have to do before you can get there. And I think that's a big blocker for people.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I know you're really passionate about DeFi. When you think into the future, in your perfect world, where will we be with DeFi in 10 years?
See, I think I'm not sure about 10 years because 10 years is a very big time for this industry. I even don't know about 10 months from now what's going to happen in the next 10 months, right? So 10 years is a very, very big time, but still if I have to assume, in my opinion, within 10 years, there wouldn't be something called DeFi. There wouldn't be anything called CeFi. Right? So a lot of people talk about CeFi, DeFi, sexes, dexes, all that stuff, and CeFi fighting DeFi, all that stuff happening. But I think all of it is going to stop at one point. And if you talk from the horizon of 10 years, I think there won't be any DeFi or CeFi. There will be a one financial system which is not made of either DeFi or CeFi. Right? So in my personal opinion, DeFi and CeFi is going to shake hands very soon. You can't expect banks to simply go away, right? No, it's not going to happen, right? If that happens, the entire financial system will crash. And you can't expect Ethereum ecosystem to go away. No, that's not going to happen because Ethereum has proven itself, right? So what's going to happen next is the centralized finance is going to shake hands with decentralized finance. And we are already seeing that, right? A lot of banks they are either experimenting with the blockchain technology with the Ethereum ecosystem, or they have already done it and they have products, right? We have seen Visa supporting payment. We have seen PayPal supporting crypto payment. We have seen Stripe doing it. We have seen a lot of big players of centralized finance accepting crypto, right? And similarly, we have seen crypto accepting fiat as well, right? Crypto accepting centralized finance as well. So if you ask me on-ramp services, that's basically DeFi shaking hands with DeFi, right? CeFi shaking hands with DeFi because that provides you a mechanism where you can convert your fiat to crypto to fiat, right? That's the first stage of DeFi and CeFi working together, right? So in 10 years, I think there won't be something called CeFi, there won't be something called DeFi. It will just be financial systems, right? And both DeFi and CeFi will be together, and they'll be one. Right? So there won't be anything called DeFi in my opinion at that time.
Gotcha. And so I guess how do you see things playing out? Is sort of stable coins, the way that we transact day to day? Is fiat still very much a thing? Or, will it vary from country to country depending on how stable maybe the national fiat currency is or depending on other factors?
Again, I don't know answer to that because that question is still at large, that is something which everyone is trying to figure out right now. And every government is trying to figure out, every DeFi project is trying to figure out, every bank is trying to figure out that how can we have both fiat and crypto in an ecosystem, right? And they don't conflict with each other. How can we have that, right? If we have an answer to that, the problem is already solved, right? There won't be any issues, there won't be any conflicts, right? No one will be behind the crypto projects and stuff that is not going to happen. But in my opinion, both currencies are going to play parallelly and they will stay there, right? The crypto, in my opinion, will be a global currency, but still national currencies will be there, right? USD for United States, INR for us, and BTC or ETH can play a role of the global currency. It's more like a gold, I would say, but it's a global currency. And stable coins have actually proven that you can have a national currency on blockchain. So if you'll ask me what is USD, USD is more like an USDC is more like an USD on blockchain, right? So okay, if governments started accepting it, it will become a national currency of the United States, right? So and that's what stable coins have proved, right? You can have your currencies on blockchain. Right? It's not a gimmick. It's not something like which is far-fetched. It's already happening right now.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sameep. Before you go, any final thoughts on QuickSwap or on L2s or on DeFi in general that you want to share?
So I think these times are very exciting, and like I really like the questions that you have asked me, because those are the questions which everyone is asking to like everyone every other day, right? And like everyone is trying to figure out answer to those particular questions, and that's why these times are very exciting, because we are still searching for the very basic answers, because these are the very basic questions, right? And we are looking out for the answer. That's why the time is very exciting, because you could do a lot of innovation around. You can put a lot of thought process around. You can discuss a lot of things like to the different thought leaders are around, right? So like in my opinion, these are very exciting times, not just for the DeFi, but for the entire blockchain ecosystem, right? Not just for QuickSwap, but for the entire DEX ecosystem, right? So it's very, very exciting. So I like encourage everyone out there to at least come onto this ecosystem, to this blockchain ecosystem, when it's still exciting, when it's still very new. Try it out once and figure it out yourself, whether it's going to stay or not, whether DeFi is going to stay or not, whether QuickSwap is a useful product or not, whether QuickSwap is going to stay or not, whether QuickSwap is solving a genuine problem or not, or it's just a gimmick, right? So I would encourage everyone out there who's listening to this podcast, guys, come to us, come to Polygon, try QuickSwap, try other applications, and then decide for yourself whether like Polygon is useful or not, QuickSwap is useful or not, other applications are useful or not.
I love it. I 100% agree and echo all of those sentiments. I think one of the best ways to get involved in the ecosystem and learn more is just to try things out. So go and get a wallet, go and try out some DeFi products. That's the best way that you're going to get a sense of what all of this is about, and get a sense of which projects that you like using the most, and really start immersing yourself in this ecosystem that's inevitably going to be part of our future. So thank you so much, Sameep, for being here. Tell people where they can find you if they'd like to connect with you personally, and then let people know as well, if they're new to QuickSwap, how can they go and try out QuickSwap for the first time?
Cool. So if you want to get in touch with me, guys, like you can get in touch with me on Telegram, you can ping me on Twitter, you can ping me on Reddit as well. I'm on Reddit as well. You can ping me on Discord, you can ping me on Facebook, like any of the communication channels, right? So I'm mostly on that, but I'm like mostly active on Telegram. So if you'll ping me on Telegram, you will most probably get a response earlier than on other platforms, right? So if you want to get into the QuickSwap, I would say like it's as easy of like using any other application. Just go to the QuickSwap website, and like you just need to connect to a wallet first. Like that's the first thing that you will have to do. And like we are trying to solve that issue as well, like how to make an onboarding process more like smoother for the newbies, right? But for now, you can go to the QuickSwap exchange, you can connect to a wallet. There are multiple wallet options which you can choose between. You can either use MetaMask. If you are not a MetaMask user, if you don't know what MetaMask is, you can connect to Coinbase, you can connect to Fortmatic, you can connect to Portis, you can connect to various different wallets. So you will find all the options out there. Just connect your wallet once, and then you go and start using QuickSwap, right? That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. And then is your Telegram the same as your Twitter, as everything? Is it Sameep SI?
My entire life is Sameep SI. So like I have
awesome.
an email for Sameep SI, I have an ENS for Sameep SI, I have like Twitter, I have LinkedIn, like everything is Sameep SI.
Perfect. Make it easy for people to get in touch with you. I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Sameep. I'll let you go get some rest over there in India. I know it's late. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in as always. And we'll be back again soon with another episode of the Unstoppable Podcast.